hoş geldiniz. Lütfen kemeri gaz ışıkları sönene kadar kemerlerinizi bağlı, başüstü dolaplarını kapalı tutunuz. Elde taşınabilir mobil cihazlarınızı kullanabilirsiniz. İnerken başüstü dolaplarını dikkatlice açınız ve
Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel. From here in Adana, Turkey. Today we go on a solemn journey to go observe the results of the devastating earthquakes here in Turkey. This is a country that I know and love very, very much. Many friends, especially here in the south, and it's very tragic to see what's happened here. There's really no words that can put it into to explain it with the profundity. It's the death toll is it's so massive and still climbing, 50,000 and counting. And how do you begin to fathom 50,000 people? That's what's stuck in my mind. It's very sad. I just came back from the restaurant, and a short story from a guy my age named Ibrahim. Ibrahim studies mechanical engineering in Istanbul, and he was here at home when the earthquake happened. And he lives just in the city here. And when the earthquake started in the middle of the night, he remembers it shaking and starts getting worse and stronger. The entire earthquake lasted, there was 2 earthquakes. The one right in the middle of the night and one early in the morning, a few hours later, both over 7 and 7 magnitude. And the first one was, it started for about 40 seconds. And so it started getting worse and worse. And then he fell off the bed and he crawled underneath his bed. And without explaining very much words, he was showing me the actions. He's getting thrown, and he said that then he gets thrown like this. To the point that he said it was like jumping, that his entire body is getting thrown underneath his bed. And thankfully he got out of his house. He and his family came to the restaurant. It's another ambulance carrying more bodies. And also earlier, when I go to see this funeral, that as soon as they finish one funeral, the next body's already coming in. It's really, really quite tragic. It doesn't end. And but he was able to escape, and he comes to his family's restaurant, and they open the doors to allow people to come inside for refuge because it's one of the only safe places. And while they were here, then one of the next tremors sent and knocked down his house, and so he doesn't have a home anymore. It used to be a two-story level house. It was only about 15 to 20 years old, but this entire area, because it's so, you can see the mountains are out there where there's actually the rocky soil. Here, it's mostly agricultural, so it's all soil. So even if it's a brand new building, that they all fell to the same fate. Very, very, very friendly people, and even in the face of disaster, how they're all still very friendly. It's extraordinary of Turkish people. It's exactly who they are. Just walking by and they invite you down to have a meal. Very nice people. In this village, dog. In this village, about 90% of the structures were completely flattened. And now we come into the city of Kahramanmaras. The name of the earthquake hasn't quite been decided, but it seems to be called the Kahramanmaras earthquake because the two epicenters of the major earthquakes were about 30 kilometers north of here and about as well 30 kilometers in the south. So this was right in the center. This whole area is very agricultural, and so the soil is very soft, and this is where most of the damage was. And here on the mountaintop of Kahramanmaras, alhamdulillah, the mosque is still standing. It's amazing. Now I am back in Gaziantep, doing pianos at some music schools for some kids. As you can imagine, an earthquake is very powerful and can knock a piano pretty badly out of tune. So a lot of these pins that hold very much tension, a lot of them slip because now they sound. You can tell where I'm at. This side is done, but not this side yet. Okay, and now at this point, about 2 hours later, it was a beast, but it's mostly tuned. So the entire bottom area, it's all okay. The top area is also all okay. But there is one problem. Because of the earthquake, it badly damaged this piano. Can you imagine what would happen if you took a piano and you put it inside a washing machine or a dryer and then had it bounce around? I'm sure that during the earthquake, this piano was literally hopping off of the ground, even how heavy it is and everything. And so what that did is it affected what's called the pin block, the piece of wood that's back here. So each one of these pins, they go into a piece called the pin block, and that's just a big piece of wood back there. It's up to the wood to hold the tension of the entire piano. And right here, somewhere there is a crack in that wood. And because of that, the strings in this area can't hold onto their tension. So on the bottom, it's all okay. But then once you get to that one spot, those notes, they won't be able to hold. So I'll see if I can find some solutions. But that's what happens when you, that's your experiment. That's what happens when you put a piano through an earthquake. This one ended up being the solution. So for the strings that were having the problem, then the quick fix, and the only thing that I can do here is just basically to plug in something to block off the strings. So you don't notice it as much, but that's what happens. Anyway, and that's going to wrap it up for today here in Gaziantep. This, of course, is the huge castle, which was also affected by the earthquake. An entire wall of it came off, but hopefully they rebuild it. It's really iconic for this entire area. But as for tuning the pianos, I think it's a really, really good way to help, a really unique way to help, because no amount of money, even if you donate money, no amount of money can ever bring back the people that were lost. And as well, it's kind of implausible for me to come there and rebuild an entire apartment complex. And so I think the next best thing that you can do is you can go there to remember the people, be a shoulder for them to lean on, and help them rebuild. And one way to rebuild is rebuilding psychologically, rebuilding some of the spirit by having pianos that work again. Because as you can see, the kids are happy to play it again, and it kind of brings back a smile in a sad time. So. Okay, good morning guys, and welcome back. Today we're on our way down to the Hatay province, down to Antakya, but on the way I wanted to stop at a special place. As you can see, it's very beautiful. Snow-capped mountains, and this is the border of Turkey and Syria. I'm not sure if you can see down there, but there's a wall that goes along the entire border with Syria. If I could, I would take you to go see some of the damage over there, but of course it's equally damaged on that side of the border. It's just a wall. Earthquake didn't know it. I tried going down to the border area, but you're not allowed to. There's a big red sign that says in about 6 different languages, entrance forbidden. And so actually most countries' governments don't recommend that you go within 10 kilometers of the border. And here this is about 200 meters. Welcome to the city of Kırıkhan. This was a school, and right next to it was actually a music school. I came here because I knew that there was a piano here. And very loud. I came here to come fix the piano, but as you can see, I don't think it's reparable. Even if the piano is still inside there, I don't think it's coming back out. So move on to the next piano. Okay, we're just coming into Antakya now, and something really interesting that I want to show you. Qatar donated the containers that they were using for the World Cup, and so they're turning it into another one of these container ship cities. And so we arrive in the city of Antakya. Out here in the distance, that red stadium, that's the stadium of Antakya, and since it's still standing now, it turned into like a refugee center that a lot of people live inside, but especially the whole grounds around it, where you usually have parking and that kind of stuff, that all turned into just a huge container ship city. So there's probably enough tents and containers there to house maybe, if I had to guess, maybe 250,000 people, but maybe even more. There's the future for the refugees is really kind of the uncertain part, because after the earthquake, pretty much, especially in this area, about 80% of buildings were destroyed, either completely flattened or structurally unstable. And so a lot of people left to the bigger cities, like the capital in Ankara, or they went to Istanbul or farther west or something to go visit family if they can. But if not, then they're forced to stay here and start the rebuild. And the question is how long that's actually going to take. We'll go down to the city in just a little bit and you'll see just how bad it is. But the government is hoping, they're saying that they want to rebuild everything within 1 year. But a lot of the people I talk to think it's going to be at least 2 to 3 years and about 10 years before things get back to normal. So it's all kind of a big question mark for right now. Essentially the shockwave, when it was coming from the north, by the time it got here, it was so strong that it was equal to gravity in the opposite. And so just the way that the buildings are sitting into the ground, that much gravity was pulling it back up, and then there was also a sideways hit. And so pretty much everything got ripped out of its roots. With buildings like this, you can really understand why so many of them collapsed, because at the base it's just these struts, and once those struts give way, the entire thing will compound down on top of it. Well, now we've arrived in Antakya city proper, and as you can see, it's not looking very good. It's very, very badly devastated. And also the traffic. At this point, I'm just abandoning my car. It's just going to be easier to go by foot because there's so many streets that are completely blocked off. An entire building that collapsed on the road. They're trying their best to take care of it, but it just takes a lot of time because there's so much destruction. Anyway, big military presence here. There's military guys standing right over here. They're all looking at me. But anyway, so I'm just going to walk into the city now instead because so many of the streets are blocked off that it's just very difficult to get around. So let's go check it out. There were some music schools back there, but that entire city block is just like this. It's completely devastated, and I deleted those videos over there because they were actually just recovering some bodies as well. But there was 2 music stores on that block, but they don't exist anymore. I thought it was bad in other parts. It is bad, but here it's unlike any other place. The city is just gone. This is another music school here in Antakya. This is actually a kids' ballet school, and thankfully the building is still standing, but it's all closed. The sign on the door just says that it's on holiday, and the dates during the holiday is when the earthquake happened. So the question is if they're still operational. But the way that I found a lot of these pianos is that I was searching on Google Maps and just looking for music school, music institute, things like this, and then I'd search the photos and see if they have a piano. And so this is one of the places that did have a piano. So I'll come back tomorrow and see if we can fix it. Here? We found the sheep herder to ask him about this place. I wanted to show you guys, officially introduce you to the world's newest valley. Probably not a good idea to go so close, but they woke up in the morning and suddenly all their trees were gone, and so it's a huge new chasm. Like I said, probably not a good idea to get too close, but very, very fascinating. And I think at this point I'm going to wrap up the video right here. I think you guys have seen the bulk of what the situation is like, and some really fascinating things. I've seen some really beautiful places on the planet, and in some way this is also equally beautiful, to be the world's newest valley. Something created overnight, just like this. It's kind of a mind-boggling idea. I like this little like island over here. It's one little part that's still standing. But yeah, a lot of people think and ask about what you can do for Turkey. Time for the call to prayer. But a lot of people ask of what you can do for Turkey, and it's always kind of a difficult question if you just give money, or like, what do you do? Where do you even donate the money? That's a big question too. In my opinion, I think a good solution is to go there, go talk to the people, go understand the situation, be a shoulder to lean on, and find a unique way that you can help. Because like I said before, it's kind of difficult for me to go there and build a new apartment, or I can't come back there and bring back the people that were lost. But you can find your own unique way to help, and even if that's just thinking about every single person, because it wasn't just 50,000 people, it was one person times 50,000. You think about how one person, just like these trees, how deep the roots of life are, how each person has such a unique story, such a unique, they're such a unique asset to the world, and loved and needed by everybody. So losing just one is difficult, and 50,000 is incomprehensible. But yeah, so pray for Turkey.